Welcome everybody, my name is Magdalena and you're watching From Words to Worlds. This is a channel for all those who learn English, but also for those who are learning other foreign languages and are looking for useful techniques, how to learn faster, how to learn easier, or how to get the most of the language course that they maybe have already paid for. Today we will discuss one very interesting thing that we can find in English language, but we will also present technique that may be useful for everybody who learns foreign languages and who has a problem with creating a habit of repeating words. A habit of everyday language practice that takes 3-4 minutes every day, but is very effective. Before we begin, just a fun fact. When I moved to Norway, I was shocked that the biggest cups I could find in a shop were this size. And I am Polish. Polish women need a cup that is minimum this size, and it has a handle for minimum 3 fingers so that I can grip it. Because when I drink coffee that is big, black, strong, and with grounds. This is how everybody in my family drinks coffee. So why are we talking about coffee cups if we were supposed to learn languages? Well, one day I went for a walk with my friend Mary. Mary is Polish and she is learning English. And one day we were walking down the street and Mary said, "Magda, this is completely pointless." So I looked at her and I asked, "But what do you mean? What is so pointless? Do you mean life is pointless? Taxes are pointless?" For me in Norway, ketchup bottles that you cannot put upside down, they are completely pointless. But what do you mean? What is so pointless? Tell me, please. And Mary said, "Well, this learning languages, this learning English is completely pointless because I repeat those words, I repeat them and repeat them and repeat them, and then I remember absolutely nothing. It's just, I'm giving up. I'm giving up." So I said, "Okay, Mary, calm down, relax. Tell me exactly how do you learn English vocabulary?" So Mary said, "Well, once a week on Saturday, I devote 1 hour to English. I take the list of words and I read them and I repeat them. Sometimes I cover the words in English so that I see only Polish translation, so only translation into my mother tongue. And I try to remember, I repeat the words, and when I read, I remember everything. But then, when I want to talk to somebody, these words disappear. They are like mice that just run out of my head. So it's pointless. It's completely pointless. I want to give up." So naturally, I imagined Mary and these mice that run out of her ears, and these are English words that just run out of her ears. And I said, okay, don't give up. Never give up. Learning languages is very beautiful. Let's talk about a technique how to learn words easier, faster, and in a way that will help you use them when you speak. This is what we will talk about today. We will discuss building learning habits. But before we go to habits, let's talk for a moment about this beautiful ing. Ing is very popular in English. We use ing in a lot of different contexts. But here we will talk about one situation when you have a verb build, learn, right? We have verbs and we add ing, building, learning. It turns a verb into a noun. If you take a verb and add ing, it turns a verb into a noun. Usually, we are talking about situation that usually happens, okay? That's why learning is now a noun. So we can say learning is fun because learning is a noun, right? Oh, I think building houses must be difficult because building is a noun. Okay? That's why we have building, learning, habits. Okay? That's why we have ing. If we stop for just one moment only on this expression, learning habits, we know that learning is now a noun, and we know that habits is a noun, right? A habit is some regular action we always repeat so that it is kind of automatic. But it is also voluntary. We choose to do it. So it is very beautiful for me because I love languages and grammar and all the elements of languages. So what is so beautiful here? It is good to remember that in English, if we put two nouns together, it is very possible that the first noun will be interpreted as an adjective. So we have habits. This is our noun. This is our base. This is the most important element in a sentence because we are talking about habits. What type of habits? Learning habits, right? We could also say, oh, cooking habits, eating habits, right? Different habits, but habits is a noun. So even though we have two nouns together, the first one is interpreted as an adjective. If you are a student from one of Slavic countries, you may find this rule a bit challenging because in Slavic languages like Polish, we have much more freedom when it comes to these constructions, and it's more typical to put the noun first and the second word that describes the noun after. That's why a lot of language students have it's a bit challenging sometimes. But there are a lot of such expressions we use every day and we don't even think that we are dealing with two nouns. Chicken soup. We know that we mean soup. What type of soup? That is made of chicken. If we said soup chicken, it would mean that we are talking about chicken that is built from soup. And that's not what we want to say. Okay. Car engine. We know that we are talking about engine. What type of engine? Car engine. Coffee cup, right? Very important for every Polish woman who likes to drink big, black, thick coffee that is like tar. That's my type. Paper bag. If we said bag paper, it would mean that we are discussing the type of paper. And that's not what we mean, right? We mean that it's a type of bag. What type of bag? Paper. So very often, if you put two nouns together in an English sentence, the first one will be interpreted as an adjective that describes the second noun. So the second noun is like the main noun. This is what we are talking about. We're talking about soup, engine, cup, and bag. Okay? Okay. So before we go back to Mary's problem and her feeling that learning languages is as pointless as ketchup bottles you cannot put on the table upside down, let's have a look at a few more examples that are closer to our topic. Study routine, right? What type of routine? Connected with studying. Vocabulary list. What type of list? Vocabulary list. And speaking practice, right? It's a practice or a habit of what? Of speaking. All of these 6 words are nouns. I just love these topics because I love languages. They kind of blend it all together in my head because I speak English, I speak Polish, I speak a bit of Russian, and I'm learning Norwegian. So all of these languages are extremely beautiful for me. So that's why I like talking a lot about these elements. So let's go back to Mary. Mary decided to learn vocabulary once a week for 1 hour, and her method was reading words and repeating. We can find 2 problems in Mary's idea. The first thing is that it is much more effective to learn English or to repeat vocabulary, especially to repeat vocabulary, even for 2, 3, 4 minutes, but every single day. So the first rule in creating a new habit of repeating vocabulary is start slowly but regularly. Okay? And when I say slowly, I mean very slowly. I mean really devote to English 3, 4 minutes every day and you will see the results. Okay? We can call it a small habit, we can call it a miniature habit, we can call it any way we want. Yeah, I wrote 2 minutes, but now that I think about it, 4 minutes will be better. Well, 5 maximum, but no more than 5. And there are a lot of books available nowadays that present this exactly idea on how to build a new habit, because it's actually very understandable. There is nothing really new in this idea. We all know that if we do something regularly, but in small portions, it will be easier to turn this activity into a habit. But we also know that it is not that simple, right? I learn Norwegian and I know I'm a teacher. I know that if I devote to Norwegian vocabulary 5 minutes every day, I will get results. But it is hard. There are days that I think it looks like, it seems that I really don't have these 5 minutes because life is complicated and we are busy and we are overstimulated all the time. So it may be challenging to find this time. Okay? What can we do about this problem? Well, what I recommend is finding a habit that you already have and that you like. Okay? Find a habit that you already have and you like. Something you do every day and it is pleasant. Like for me, yes, drinking a big cup of strong black coffee so that when I put a spoon inside, it just stays there in the middle of the cup and I cannot move it. This is my favorite type of coffee. Find a habit that you already have. Find something you do every day and you like it. And connect to this habit like a little baby, so to speak, new activity that isn't a habit yet and that may be a bit tiring, like repeating vocabulary, right? It may be something that sometimes we just don't feel like doing. But you connect this small thing, this one insect, to a big habit that you love. Okay? This method is very effective because, first of all, we know from psychology that every action, everything we do needs some sort of element that will start it, that will give signal to the brain that, okay, it's time to start this activity. So our cup of coffee will be a signal for the brain that, okay, it's time to repeat vocabulary. Okay. And also, if we like drinking coffee so much, it will serve as a reward. Our brain will learn that learning vocabulary, repeating words, it's connected with something pleasant. And this will help the brain repeat this action again and again and again and again. Okay? Well, according to the psychological theory I like very much, our brain was created as a tool to help us survive in the environment. So when our brain already has some habits, routines that keep us alive, like sleeping, eating, drinking coffee, my brain is sure that it's crucial for survival, then it's very hard for the brain to change these routines. Okay? Because vocabulary in a foreign language isn't as important for the brain as survival. So that's why we try to go around our brain and find a habit we already have and use it to help us build a new one. So we connect our new activity, our new habit to a daily routine we already have and we like very much. I would really like to underline it 3 times that it's very important to start slow. Start with 3 minutes, but do it every day. And after 3 minutes, if you want to continue and learn more, feel free. But if you don't want to learn more, it's perfectly okay because you have done your job. You have learned vocabulary. Your job is done for today. You can feel proud. And let yourself feel this pride because then the brain will want to repeat this action again. Starting with 3-4 minutes is so effective because there will be days when these 3 minutes seem like 3 hours, right? It seems impossible to find this time. So, we can do it. We can find these 3 minutes and feel this satisfaction, okay? The second mistake I found in Mary's idea to learn vocabulary was that Mary simply took a list of words and she read them and she repeated them. But if we read words, we learn reading. Okay, we will remember these words eventually, but in a passive way, that we will recognize them on the paper. Okay, because we read, so we learn reading. To learn speaking and putting the words into sentences, of course, we have to speak. Okay. That's why when we just read vocabulary and then we try to talk to somebody, we have a feeling like Mary, that the words just run out of our head like mice and they just disappear and we can't remember anything. Because the brain isn't practicing putting words into sentences. Okay? The brain isn't training speaking. So, how can we practice speaking by ourselves? Well, what I recommend, it's one of numerous techniques on how to learn vocabulary. Today we will present this one, and in following videos we will continue with other techniques. So I call this technique a daily diary challenge. If we are interested, again, we can see that we have 2 nouns together, diary and challenge. And we know that we are talking about challenge. What type of challenge? That is connected with writing a diary, right? With writing something every day, like in a diary. So what we do is we take a piece of paper. It may look like this, but it can also be a normal piece of paper we write on. Every day we write 3 new words we want to learn. Okay? 3 new words. When we have 3 new words on the paper, we speak. We say 3 sentences with these 3 words. They have to be new sentences we have just built in our heads. They may be simple, like dog. I don't have a dog. Okay. They may be complicated, like generosity. Oh, generosity is an important quality to have in our modern world. Generosity is not something we meet every day. So this simple technique can be also used if we are on a much higher level but we still struggle with building a routine that will allow us repeat vocabulary and learn new vocabulary every day. So we write 3 words, we speak aloud, not in our head, aloud, 3 sentences, and then we write 3 sentences in the lines. There can be the same sentences we have just said out loud, but they can be also completely different sentences. And then our day is done. We have done our work for the day. Okay? This is a very simple method, but if you do it regularly every single day, you will see that your brain remembers the words better because your brain kind of thinks, okay, so he, she uses these words to speak. So I need to put these words here so that they are easier to find while speaking. Okay? That's why it's very good to repeat words aloud and not just read them on a paper. You can use this method for learning vocabulary in any foreign language. The crucial element is repeating the sentences out loud. Okay, so I recommend finding a habit you do at home and in a place where you are not ashamed and you feel free to speak out loud, and connecting to this habit, this little new habit of learning 3 new words, speaking 3 new sentences, and writing them on a paper. So now I will go and get myself a big, wonderful cup of coffee, and I will think about ing in English and how ing can create a noun from a verb. I will think about how 2 nouns put together in English very often create an expression where the first noun becomes an adjective. And I will also think about a new habit of learning 3 new words every day, speaking out loud 3 sentences with these words, and writing them on paper. Thank you for watching. In these videos, I try to speak slowly so that people who are learning English can understand me. But I'm sure the techniques can be useful also for advanced learners and for those who learn other languages. If you follow From Words to Worlds on Facebook, you can find there an example list of vocabulary you can use to get you started. There is one list for new learners with basic vocabulary. We will find them nouns and verbs. I recommend taking 1 noun, 1 verb, and some third word we want. But you will also find a list for advanced learners that contains nouns that are more abstract and verbs that can be connected to them if you are looking for a way to learn vocabulary on a higher level. You can practice building sentences in past, present, future. You can practice different grammar structures, and you can take vocabulary on any topic you are interested in. Also, under this video, you will find a link. If you click it, you can download an example of such a daily diary challenge for 7 days. You can download this, print it out, use it, but you can also take a simple piece of paper and just write by yourself. You don't need any special worksheet for that. But if you would like one, You will find it below the video. Just please don't use these materials for any commercial purposes. They are for those who learn languages and who simply love it, or who find it pointless sometimes, just like Marisha, but who don't give up. So don't give up, happy learning, and see you soon.